Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. And it is Saturday and it is 5 p.m. And we are actually starting at 5 p.m. Isn't that fantastic? And it is the Star Trek stream. And today we are going to be talking about the ships of Trek, whether they be Starfleet or enemy ships. And so today I have with me the One Ton Hammer,
Hello.
Irate Prostate,
Jolan True.
and special guest, Dr. Functional.
Kapla!
And Skep Talk will hopefully be joining us. He said he would be here today, so hopefully the kidlets did not get thrown at him without warning, and he will join us shortly. So, because I don't have access to the manuals and stuff, because that stuff is not as accessible as the shows and stuff are, I'm actually gonna be out of my wheelhouse for the first time ever in Star Trek stream
I don't
history,
believe it.
because I don't know very much about the ships.
Are you going to go chronologically here, or how are we doing this?
No, I wanted to figure out what you guys liked, what your favorite ships were.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to talk about, what ships you guys liked and
Well, that's an easy pick for me.
you liked them. And, maybe, we could talk a bit about some Starfleet ships that we like and some enemy ships that we like and kind of do that.
Okay.
Okie doke. Sounds good.
Since I don't know very much, I will go with my favorite ship first, because it's not, I don't know if you would call it a ship or as a shuttle, but hands down the Delta Flyer is my favorite. It is my favorite because it is so cool to have watched them build a ship, especially in, like, yes, it was sped up, but in Trek you usually see a ship, with just the finishing touches being put on it.
Yeah, a couple of plates and we're almost done kind of deal.
Yeah, and it was,
Except for 2009 Trek.
well, yeah, but we're not counting that.
I don't blame you.
We're not counting J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. So
Kurtzman is a plague on Trek.
yeah, Kurtzman is a plague on Trek, and
Sorry, I didn't want to bring us down.
so
So the Delta Flyer looks kind of like a whale without a fin on the back.
that's an interesting description.
I thought it looked like a block of cheese.
I thought it was a basic diamond shape. It's really a double Delta, right?
It's a cool little ship. Little.
It is. Yeah. Well, and that's kind of like it reminds me of like the old school fighters from World War II and shit.
Right.
Those planes were really actually little, like the 109, German 109. Yeah, that was a really small plane for what it packed. And
Well,
go ahead.
That's
It wasn't
kind of
that
why I like the Delta Flyer. Oh, sorry, Functional.
Oh, I was just gonna say it wasn't that little. I mean, it was comparable to a runabout class.
Yep.
So it had the back compartment, which had facilities and sleeping bunks and everything. So it wasn't as small as like the typical shuttle, which was the point in them building it. They needed something a little bit more
bigger,
with a little bit more power behind it and a little bit more longevity to go away from Voyager for more extended periods into more unknown territory.
And I like it because Voyager, like, for its shortfalls and plot holes, it was really good at taking enemy tech that kind of flabbergasted them at first, learning about it, and incorporating it into their ships. And they did that with the Delta Flyer. 7 of 9 added some Borg technology to the Delta Flyer. And I think that was a really cool idea. And I think because Picard was because of his experiences, he was so anti-Borg, that was almost a strength that Janeway had, was find my enemy's strengths, learn about them, and then use them.
I think it's the principal Oh, sorry.
And I like that the Delta Flyer was that. It was an amalgamation of Borg and Starfleet technology, and it was a freaking cool ship.
Well,
think-
the flyer is smaller than a runabout.
Is it?
I looked it up online. Yeah.
Huh.
I always thought it was the same size. Sorry, Functional, you keep getting cut off. You
No. By all means, I sometimes feel like I talk too much, but like I'm gushing with knowledge of Trek.
go ahead.
In theory, I mean, look at the difference of the ships and the captains. Picard was the explorer. He drove the city in space.
Yeah.
Janeway had a long-range science vessel filled to the brim with scientific
Technology.
staff.
Yeah.
Technology, the newest staff, and her inquisitive scientific mind, the mind of a scientist, as well as a bit of an explorer, but primarily this scientist, which is hammered home throughout the series, really gave her that edge that you're talking about, BP, in being more open to reverse engineering and learning about things and whether or not they can use it to their advantage, because they're isolated, they're alone, they need anything and everything they can get their hands on. And I think you're entirely right that is personified, so to speak, in the Delta Flyer.
Yeah. And it has all the captain, as Tuvok says, all those unnecessary features.
Like the classic knobs and buttons that Paris wanted to put in. Oh, I hate Paris so much.
How can you hate? Anyway, don't get off topic. So that's my favorite ship. Is the Delta Flyer. Who
It never even crossed my mind to include that. It's a good choice. Don't get me wrong.
I thought about not including it because I was like, does it count as a ship or does it count as a
No.
shuttle? But I think it counts as a ship.
It does. I think you're right. It just never occurred to me. Obviously I would say Voyager. Obviously that's clear, but I didn't even think. Oh yeah, the Delta Flyer. But that's a good choice. It is a good choice because it's like a souped up shuttle. It's not the size of a runabout, but it's faster. It's better weapons, better defense. It has better everything than a runabout that's not fitted for a specific task. That was the great thing about a runabout. Oh, you need a science vessel? Oh, you can fit a runabout to be a science vessel. Yeah. Oh, you need something to go fast? We can fix a runabout to do that. It was the handyman's tool. It was the jack of all trades. You needed to do something? Well, we'll just change this, and it does it. Where the Delta Flyer does everything right out of the bucket, just not as much as what a runabout could do if it was tasked specifically for something.
Right. Yeah, and retrofitted for that specific purpose.
I don't think you'd ever find a runabout that has the firepower of the Delta Flyer, though.
No, not even during the Dominion War when they retrofitted a bunch with additional dual torpedo launchers on top. They were more of a support vessel that's.
But they were still firing proton torpedoes. They weren't doing any special weapons. They weren't using quantum torpedoes. They were.
No, I'm saying as opposed to quantum torpedoes.
Yeah, so that even one that's tasked for being a destruction machine still wasn't quite in the level of the Delta Flyer either.
Yeah.
No, but I mean that wasn't really the ethos of the Federation shipbuilding.
Right.
Yeah.
They really needed to turn it around. This shit has some like big nasty battleships, man. That would have been awesome. They never did it, but.
They should seriously have. I would have loved to see what the Federation would have done with all of the data that Voyager could have brought back with them on Borg weapons and
just the Vaudoir themselves. Can you imagine
the
Vaudoir, the strides they made in
Borg
transwarp technology?
All the
Slipstream.
They would have been debriefed for months.
Slipstream, the slingshot. Oh yeah.
Could you imagine the Voyager debriefing? That would have taken months.
Not to get too far off topic here, but why didn't they ever take a run at a star and kind of go through a time warp? Why didn't they ever do that?
No metaphasic shielding.
Oh, that's true.
Well, that's true. That was something that was on the Enterprise, and it was only a test.
And didn't the Klingons have an early version of it that as well when Kirk and them tried it?
Yeah,
Because
well, I
they
mean,
stole a click. Because they did not do it in an early Enterprise. They did it in a Klingon.
Klingon flea trap. I believe Scotty used the exact
A
words.
Klingon flea trap. Yep.
Replaced the Klingon food dispensers. They were giving me a sour stomach. I can't do it, Scotty. Anyway, who's next?
Yeah. Who wants to go next with favorite ship?
Hammer does.
Hammer.
Of course, I ask the question. I become the target. All right. It's going to be boring. You guys are going to like, yeah. Sovereign class Enterprise. I'm sorry. It's just so pretty. It is just with that black and the silver and the long nacelles and the even the way it moves. It's not sprite. It's not fast. It's not snappy. But it's just oozes power and elegance all in one shot. It's just you look at it and you're like, I don't want to fight that. Sorry, you guys are cool and all, but I'm not going to fight that. That's bullshit.
What class starship?
Sovereign.
So the E. Yeah.
Yeah, the Enterprise E.
I really like how they kept with the motif of Federation ships with the Sovereign without getting too away from it.
They just stretched it out.
They really drew inspiration from the God damn it, their workhorse. What is it called? Excelsior classes.
There you go.
Sure.
That's what it is.
Sure. It's very close. I mean, the same thing could be applied. That's a pretty big ship. Not as big as her captain, I think. They're both big ships.
Yeah.
Big. Impressive ships. It's just that the Sovereign class had the advantage over the Galaxy class because it wasn't designed to have families. It was a warship designed for battle. And it would just, I can't imagine. I mean, you're a Romulan, you're Klingon, you see that, you're like, oh man, this is going to be painful.
I think that Ferengi in that episode, come on, Blind Press, you're good at this. Frickin' Rascals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When they say like you have your families aboard, that's stupid. They were saying that to Riker, right?
Yeah.
I gotta agree with them.
Yeah,
I think
that is stupid. That's very stupid.
So I'm looking at the E now. Yeah, it's got a more aggressive looking design.
Does it separate, or
no.
Did they take that away?
No, it does not separate. It doesn't have a neck. Yeah, neither does Voyager. I mean, it still has the captain's job, but it doesn't separate. Yeah. But the thing about the Sovereign class that really did it for me was in the Borg movie, First Contact.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're out monitoring the border while the rest of the Federation is fighting the Borg, and Picard says, "Fuck this, I'm going to fight." And there's a beauty shot of the Sovereign class turning around and going to warp, and it has an emotional impact on me. I know Trek is a thing, and people might give me shit because it's a fantasy, dude. Go out and get a job kind of deal. But when that ship comes at you and then turns around and takes off, and I get an emotional impact. I'm like, oh my god, that's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And go get them, man.
The designs and ideas are like intoxicating on a level, and they're very intriguing to me. I'm a visually based person.
Mm-hmm.
So
most men are.
I'm a model builder, so it's like, and I've even seen dudes kit bash some of the stuff that is really rare. But yeah, I'm into these designs on a huge level. I love them all. This is a beautiful ship.
Yep, that's my pick. Who's next?
What's your pick, Irate?
Oh shit, man. So if I had my own, if I had my druthers, I had a ship to you get all these types of ships, I'd probably pick the Vorcha class of Klingon battle cruiser.
Nice.
It's just I like that. I like the lines. I like the I guess what they do, I like how they take the designs and modify them, right? And so, and if you build the kit, you realize that there's like science versions of it too. You can build, as well as the warrior thing. So, and it's just a pretty design.
It's a nasty ship. I like the prongs in the front.
Yeah, exactly.
It just looks like I'm gonna kill you
with that disruptor cannon thing.
Yeah. That's a scary ship.
My second, I've got to have my second one's got to be the Defiant.
Yeah, Defiant's pretty cool.
I don't like the Defiant.
No,
love the Defiant.
No, I don't like it.
So what about it don't you like, Hammer?
It is a complete departure from everything Trek. It looks like nothing else. It doesn't really make much sense. I mean, what is it? It was supposed to be a board killer. Well, if that's true, then why do they have the Voyager?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
They had to diversify the.
Why does it have quantum torpedoes if it's just an escort?
Oh, I thought it was for the Dominion War.
Yeah.
No, it was when they introduced the Defiant, they specifically say we started designing this to fight the Borg. And
I got you.
Fight the Borg, yeah.
And now it's going to help us in the Dominion War.
But the armaments, to answer your question, Hammer, why it had quantum torpedoes was because of the Dominion. They needed something to crack their shields. You remember, every time they seemed to engage with the Dominion always had this technological advantage that Cisco and the rest of the crew had to sort of catch up really quick. Yeah. It was probably a throwaway line, I want to say by Miles.
Yeah.
When he was talking about how it's undergunned or overpowered, overgunned, and underpowered.
Over-engineered, something like that.
Yeah.
You remember that quote?
Yeah.
Well,
and just sorry, I brought up the technical manual. I do have to clarify: the Sovereign class also had the ability to separate its saucer section in the event of emergency.
Really?
Although it was never seen on screen, because I'm looking at it. What sparked me looking up that was I saw on the technical specs for the Enterprise E there is a secondary warp core in the saucer section.
Oh wow!
Oh,
I did not know that.
So the saucer could warp?
In the Enterprise E, there was a secondary warp core?
I don't think the
it has to have in the cells to generate the field, right?
The D didn't have a secondary warp core, did it?
Well, the secondary warp core doesn't necessarily mean it's going to propel you at warp speeds. No. It just means it's going to provide power to shields, weapons, environmental.
Well, yeah, it's got a second power source if you need it.
It's about half the size of the warp core proper on the Enterprise E. Yeah.
It's always been a fantasy of mine to design a ship with the kind of armaments and capabilities to match just about anything that it could come up against, because it's always... And I understand the whole point. You're telling a story. You want them to be matched pretty close, where you could lose, but they're gonna prevail, and everyone's gonna feel good. So there is that. But I like to just every once in a while have a ship of the fleet that has 3 warp cores. One of them is designed specifically for defense, and it runs metaphasic, refractive, reflective shields with absorption properties, and all these kind of wild capabilities. Temporal torpedoes. The next.
Oh, chronoton torpedoes.
Yes. The next, whatever the next technology is, well above what everyone else has. Just walk under the field of battle and just say, "Okay, everybody stop." Or else I'm going to destroy everything.
Well, that's what I mean about Voyager adding so much to the... I kind of want to... I wish I could have seen something like that after the debrief. Because fucking... Could you imagine? Voyager comes home and goes, hey, we learned that there are such a thing as chronoton torpedoes. And here's the data on that.
Yeah, oh my God, can you imagine? That's why don't we... That's the next Star Trek TV show. Is what happens after Voyager gets home.
Yeah.
The ships that they build, the things they run into, now they have starships that are just like, oh my God, these things are just amazing. And
a lot of different stories can be dealing with the aftermath of the Dominion War. The entire Alpha Quadrant has been decimated by the
I hate
Dominion.
to tell you this, but CBS has totally fucked that up.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what
we'll never
fan
see any of
fiction
this.
is for.
Yeah, we'll never.
We
see
can
any
still
of this.
dream.
We can dream and dream. Hey,
You could start writing fan fiction. No,
I read this. I read this. No, I didn't read. I saw this video this morning about this guy talking about these kids doing what's called reality shifting.
what?
Yeah, it's like they're like 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, just really talking about like every time they make a decision, they go into a different reality, right? So
Well,
they
yeah.
and there's like this fascination with everybody wants is going to Hogwarts in their alternate realities and shit. And
Dude,
you know,
what are they all smoking? And can I have some?
well, yeah, right. It's almost like it's almost like, well, hey, you've discovered your imagination. That's what that's called. You know. But it's a funny video. It's dude named Leon Lush did it. So sorry, I just thought
I
about.
can't tell you how many times I've thought about all of these things. Imagine this scenario: you're fighting new wild enterprise that I'm talking about, or whatever the ship's going to be called, and if somehow they manage, they poke a hole, somebody gets sucked out into space. You have one of the not only do you have your regular computer, but you also have a battle computer that runs off of one of the warp cores. It automatically puts up a shield around the area to close it off so nothing else happens, and automatically pressurizes it. The person gets sucked out in space. It opens a small hole in its own shields on the ship where there are no bad guys. The sick bay onto a bio bed, and then puts them in suspended animation like that.
That's
Hammer.
awesome.
You're starting to get into STD territory, and I'm not liking it.
But I mean,
no, I'm serious. That was in one of the latest episodes of Star Trek Discovery, and it made me want to vomit.
Oh, have you been watching the whole thing, man?
I have been. I have to hate watch things because I especially things I'm passionate about, because I need to know what I hate.
How much worse did they fuck the Klingons up?
They're not even included anymore. They're now like 800 years beyond Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh,
which is ridiculous.
They pulled an Enterprise, did they?
Sort of, yeah.
They're in the future now?
Yeah.
They're like 900 years in the future from where they were. Yeah.
Oh.
It's so dumb. It is so dumb. And for whatever reason, this 900-year-old ship is now one of the most powerful ships in the known galaxy. And I'm just like, why?
Is it still a Discovery, or is this?
It's still Discovery. They've retrofitted it with like modern weapons and modern technology, but I'm like, it's still a 900-year-old ship. Yeah. There's only so much you can. Oh, it's got the sport. I don't want to get off on this tangent, but it's just.
it's a mediocre design at best too. I don't know. Not my fave.
It's an ugly looking ship. It's a circle and a triangle. It's terrible.
One of the worst changes is the fact that the nacelles are no longer physically attached to the ship. Apparently, in the future, nacelles don't have to be attached to the ship anymore.
Oh, wow. They watched
why, if they're
Anakin
relying
Skywalker's
on their spore drive as opposed to a warp drive, are they worried about where the nacelles are? Like, nothing about the designs of these ships in the new Kurtzman stuff makes any sense. That one scene in Picard,
sarcophagus ship, dude.
But that one scene in Picard where Riker shows up and it's like 200 of the exact same Starfleet ship just made me belligerently angry. That's not Starfleet.
No.
Starfleet does not have a homogenous view when it comes to building their ships, and
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it does not make any sense.
You want your ships to be different. That way, if you find a problem with one of them, it's not a problem with all of them.
Yeah. Like even the Galaxy class ships are slightly different. They're all slightly different. Like the USS Yamata versus the USS Enterprise. They're not cookie cutter.
Close. Yamato, the Galaxy.
They're close, but they're not. They're not
different letters.
Designs.
I don't know. We never really saw the Yamato in any kind of close. We saw mostly from underneath. We didn't really saw much at the top.
Oh, okay. I thought we saw the Yamata. Because the Enterprise went to save the Yamata. or the Yamato.
Yeah, but it was
or...
all inside. It was all you never got to see the outside of the ship.
Yeah.
The only time we saw the outside of the ship is when it was against that guy in the void, and we just saw it kind of from the bottomish.
This is why frickin' I wish Star Trek was described. Cause like it would be like watching it for the very first time again. Just having it like I found a in I guess in Britain Sky described, like they got licensed to describe some episodes, but they're not all described, and the episodes that are not in order. Like it's just randomly, here's a descriptive episode for you. And it was like watching it for the first time. It was freaking amazing. And it was Deep Space Nine that I found, and I can't remember where I found it. But yeah, I didn't know that you didn't get to see a full shot of the Yamato.
No, you get to see it from underneath in that episode with the void, and then when they're talking about that virus that's affecting the Enterprise and the Yamato, it was you got to see the bridge of the other ship more than anything else. You never really got to see the ship itself.
Ah.
Yeah.
Is anyone sad that the Prometheus never really got more screen time than that one episode?
That's leaning a little bit more towards that OP, like just kick-ass ship that Hammer wants.
Exactly. When Hammer started describing that, I'm like, Prometheus?
That would be the ship that would have all those things.
Yeah.
It already separates into three pieces. Why not give it all those extra bells and whistles that I have in my head?
Multi-vector assault mode.
That would require 3 warp cores.
Yep. It makes a lot of sense if you think about it. But functional, what's your ship?
Oh boy. So in thinking about this, I don't want to go the boring route and say the Defiant, even though it's my favorite ship. Because it is, for various reasons. And then I had to think, well, like, what do I love in Trek that's just so iconic and, for me, unique and invoked feeling? And it was a toss-up between the Brel class bird of prey and the NX-01.
Oh.
Really? Wow. Didn't see that coming.
And I'm going to have to lean towards the NX-01 because as much as I love the Brel class bird of prey, which is just basically the backbone, the workhorse of the Klingon Defense Forces, nothing really compares to me to the NX-01 in its uniqueness. It was not at the time, but it was the Federation, Earth's Starfleet's first warp 5 capable ship in theory.
Yeah.
It had that sort of proto-Federation design feel to it, even though you compare it to a Galaxy or a Sovereign, it looks almost nothing.
Definitely felt canon, right?
Yeah, which is more than you can say about STD. And I loved the inner workings of it throughout the series. We got to climb into a nacelle on more than one occasion with the crew because it was so heavily shielded and the only place for them to safely exist. And it was really cool to see Tucker and T'Pol like crawling through Jeffries tubes that don't look like your cookie cutter Jeffries tubes for more modern Trek, which are, literal tubes that look very sterile. And this look and felt more like a modern Navy ship.
Yeah, I was telling this to Pincalo the other day. I was saying, one of the things that I appreciate watching Enterprise now that I didn't when it first came out is the fact that you get to see the advent and invention of tech that we know in later Trek on the fly. Like, we see Tucker, putting more things in the engine room that we know of from the original series and TNG. We see Reed figuring out phasers and
the Reed alert. Ding ding ding. Ding ding ding.
Yeah.
Jesus, that was awful.
It was, but it was, it was cool to see the, how we got there kind of part of Trek.
Yeah.
That we don't, and that's kind of why I like, the episode of the building the Delta Flyer, because we never really saw ship building in Star Trek before.
Yeah, how many times do we hear about Utopia Planitia, but we never see them in operations around? Yeah.
Yeah, we see them leave Utopia Planitia. Like, okay, we're all done. Yay, bye.
And man, do I ever feel sorry for Tucker and his engineering crew for having to rebuild that warp core how many times?
Oh my god.
Oh, it was painful to watch at times. Again, that's probably what evoked my emotional attachment to the NX-01, is you see it just take a beating after beating after beating, and they're still trucking along.
Did they ever get shields, or did they cancel before the shields showed up?
No, they didn't.
Oh, man.
It's implied later that the Andorians give them shields.
That's
with
right.
with the formation of the United Federation of Planets. Because in I want to say an episode with Daniels, they're talking about how the Enterprise raised shields, and there were, oh god, and I just rewatched the series too. I think it was Andorians and Vulcans who were shooting at them. And they were almost through the shields or something. It's all kerfuffle in my mind, but it is implied that later on they do get the shielding, which is kind of cool because the Andorians, that was kind of their strength: phasers, shields. The Vulcans had faster ships, more solidly built ships, better science facilities, better sensors, and the humans could do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Like they could take your phasers and make them better. They could take your shields, make them better. It was almost a perfect marriage of these different races.
Tough ship too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All things, it got pounded on straight onto the metal pretty regularly, and it held up. So
literally spatial anomalies tearing it apart.
Yeah.
From the inside out.
Pincalo called me the other day. He goes, "Did you know the Enterprise, the original Enterprise, pulled a I can't remember what I think it was a nacelle off with a cable and a claw," and I'm like, "Yep, because they didn't have tractor beams then."
Yep. It was a cool shot too. They clamped onto the side and it took off, and you see the Klingon ship, how it moved in a way where it made sense that if you put a claw and pulled that part, that's how it would move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
get up. The physics.
Yay, physics.
Yeah. We want show. Should we do our second favorite?
Yes. But first, Skip, how are you?
Hey, everybody. I snuck in here. I'm so sorry that I'm late.
What happened again?
No, I was actually on.
We love you.
I was on another stream, and it was a stream I was supposed to be on last weekend, and that would have worked out because this stream didn't happen last weekend, and so but I was already promised to them, and their stream got canceled too last weekend.
You can say
so.
The stream
anyway,
is Say No More, right?
Yeah, Say No More.
Yeah,
and so I was. And I told them I was going to be on, and it's kind of been on and on. So I felt an obligation to spend some time with them, and they're both friends of mine, Eve and Tally, and so I was just on the horns of the dilemma. I just wanted to explain why I was late. I'm sorry.
I honestly thought that you got kidded again without warning.
Accosted by grandkids.
I thought the grandkids were like, "Here, bye."
It's always a hazard. There's always potential for that. But
it's good timing too, because we just got done. Everybody just told us what their favorite ship was,
Everybody knows that mine is the Defiant, and it's a tough little ship, and it's got guns. And it's so overpowered that when you run it at full throttle, it shakes itself apart. It's a wonderful, it's the ship I want to take into space. It's cool. It's small. The bunks are uncomfortable, and it's just.
And wonderful. That's why Worf wants to live on it.
Yeah.
That's why I want to live on it.
What ship is it?
The Defiant.
The Defiant. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was built in
copycat.
It's a good. Well, no, it's a good thing Skep wasn't here when I was, bad mouthing the Defiant.
Well, see, and Skep's the Navy guy, so he should know.
See, it's not personal. I said I didn't like the Defiant before you even showed up. So it's not like I was targeting you because you picked the Defiant. I didn't like the Defiant, and it's just. It doesn't. Maybe the strengths that you give it are the detractors for me because it doesn't look like a starship, a Starfleet ship.
Yeah, no, it does not look like a star. It doesn't have the amazing grace and lines of Enterprise, obviously. And
Skepdoc gets it.
Yeah. Even Necklace Enterprise is
even Necklace
is.
We discussed that too.
I'm there. I'm with you. It's just the aesthetics. I actually like the way the Defiant looks. In fact, I pretty much like everything about it. I want one so bad I could taste it.
I want one.
So anyway, that's my favorite. So
we're holding a raffle. We'll have one for you.
We're gonna move on to our second favorite ships because we're only halfway through the show. So my second favorite, surprisingly, is not any of the Enterprises or anything. It's Voyager.
Okay.
Why Voyager?
Because I like that it's both a science vessel and a battle vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get that combination. That's a great combination. It's a science vessel and it's capable of being a badass too.
And it's not huge.
True.
That's
what did he say it was? It was smart. Is that the term he used for it?
It's a smart. Well, it is a smart ship because it's got bioneural circuitry.
But I mean, he put it in a context of being quick and smart and snappy. That kind of ship. So I get where you're coming from.
It's a jack of all trades ship, and it does it well. It's not a jack of all trades.
Does Voyager have any bad things about it?
Too much plot armor.
It's a lady captain thing.
You really don't like Janeway, do you?
No, he just doesn't like lady captains.
Yeah, no, it's not anything. Actually, my last boss in the Navy was a lady captain. I shit you not. Her name was Captain Jan McMorrow, and she was, I would actually say she was tied for the best boss that I ever had in my time in the Navy. Honest to Pete, Jan McMorrow was an amazing woman. And just a world-class human being, world-class leader. But so they definitely can be. And I tease about the lady captain just because I made that one comment one time when that's the one with lady captain, right? I was that out of touch. It was kind of a funny moment, so I'm just milking that.
No, it's
I actually love Janeway. I think she's great.
Is there anything bad about
there isn't? I can't think of anything bad. It is the fastest ship.
Yeah, warp 9.975 or 5. Yeah, 9.975.
It did come with new problems with new technology, using bioneural gel packs, so
they can get infected.
Exactly. So but they were easily overcome once it was established, and they found out what the problems were.
Had they been in the Alpha Quadrant, they could have very easily replicated more, or had put in.
They still grew. You can't run the ship without some. I think at some point they had to replenish their supply somehow.
They did, but it at first when they weren't sure where they could, when they were just in the Delta Quadrant first off, they were worried about replacing, their supplies, which makes sense. But
I think anything really bad about that ship.
No, I can't.
The foldable warp drive gave them the ability to go as that 9.975
Yeah.
and have to worry about ruining subspace. It solved all kinds of problems.
It really did, and like I said, it's half this or over half the size or under half the size of Enterprise. It's no over half the size. It's Enterprise D was 42 decks. Enterprise E was 24 decks.
1,074 meters.
And Voyager is 15. So I mean, Voyager was much smaller and much more maneuverable. And this is going to sound like a funny thing to say, but if I were on Voyager, I probably wouldn't get lost as much as I would on Enterprise.
Big ship.
Yeah. I'd have to be like Riker and Farpoint. Your computer.
Where the hell am I?
Where am I?
Somebody had put a 3D model out of the Enterprise, and then the crew standing on the saucer section.
Oh,
And it was
cool.
like a small, it looked like a stamp
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
on the thing. Apparently that thing, the on a scale on real scale is humongous.
Yeah.
And then the Didariax Romulan vessels, yeah, that's they're like 3 or 4 times the size of Next Generation Enterprise D.
Wow.
Yeah, they're gigantic.
And yeah, according to the specs, the Galaxy class is 642.5 meters, and Voyager was 343 meters.
It's literally
just
half the
over
size.
half. Just over half,
Over
yeah.
half.
By about 20 meters.
It's more like the old, the original Enterprise from the original series, size-wise.
What is your second favorite choice, functional?
I'm going to have to go with the Brel. The Brel class bird of... Oh, wait, no, I can't do that because I already badmouthed it, and you know what? I'm going to change my mind again and say it is one of the most iconic ships from all of Trek. We are the Borg. You will be assimilated
The cube.
in our
Borg
cube. Borg cube. I really, it was fascinating to me that they went this direction using very simple geometric shapes for the overall shape of their vessel.
Yeah.
But when the Enterprise first encounters it, it dwarfs the Enterprise. Like, it is a speck of dust compared to a full-size Borg cube. And just that initial mystique, while still having a very familiar geometric shape, was very unsettling to me.
Well, and if you think about it, when you think about cubes and spheres, you go, oh, it's just a cube or a sphere. And then you see it, and you go, holy fuck.
And the capabilities of it, like, it swatted away an entire wing of Starfleet ships without even a second thought, with taking 2% damage to its outer hull.
Something like that.
And I mean, I love the Borg, and one of the things that detracted me from later seasons of the of Voyager was the fact that they neutered the Borg. I didn't like that. I liked them being this almost unstoppable force in the universe, at least technologically through their ships.
Well, they appeared unstoppable to the Enterprise crew because the Enterprise was less of a match for them. Remember, Voyager was designed to go after them.
Yeah.
In an aggressive way. In other words, we think that Voyager is better than the Borg. That's the mindset behind its development. So I think if you would have put the Voyager crew on the Enterprise D and flew them out to the Delta Quadrant, they would have had the same problem with the Borg that our Enterprise D did in the Alpha Quadrant. They just don't have the ship to stop it.
Yeah.
I mean, I see where you're coming from, because at first it's what you normally think of as ship-to-ship combat. They were trying to win through phasers and torpedoes.
Right,
It's not the way you win against the Borg. You win by subverting their command structure. by infiltrating their programming. All these little things that are more espionage than they are tactical combat, which is brilliant. And like you say, Voyager specializes in that kind of thing with their science labs and all that.
Exactly, their science lab. Perfect example. Yep.
Yeah. So they could do those things even with newer ships. Like I think was it Voyager we first saw a tactical cube?
Yes.
The one with the big armor platings on it. Yeah, like that. Actually, you see that scene. You can see it in Mulgrew's face. She's scared of this new thing because her ship was meant to fight this thing, the cube, the basic run-of-the-mill. Well, they didn't know it at the time, but it's their basic run-of-the-mill vessels, not their heavy hitter battleship. Yeah, exactly. And wow, what more can I say about the Borg? Is just that they're terrifying.
Yeah, I remember being literally scared watching the first encounter with them when when Q finally says, "Oh well, I'll just stop this now." You know, it's like, thank God, because I thought we were dead, man.
Oh my God, that scene when Riker finds the baby Borg.
Yeah.
In the maturation chamber. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives you the heebie-jeebies for sure.
Freaks me out to this day.
That's a cringe moment. That's a huge cringe moment.
Because you can hear, if you're quiet enough, you can hear babies. If you listen really closely, you hear babies. You hear baby noise. And it's like, that's
absolutely
fucking disturbing.
Yeah, in the nursery,
No, just what? No, yeah. There's something about having raised kids. You become very attuned to the just changes in breathing. Seriously, I mean, you're that dialed into it, and I understand that. Believe me, I understand.
So yeah, that scene in the nursery, in the Borg nursery, is just blah.
Eerie, very strange, and very cringy.
IP, what's your second?
Yeah.
Just for Skep's clarity, his first was a Vorcha class battlecruiser.
Yeah.
From the Klingons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, my second one's going to be the BOP, man. I mean.
Oh, the bird of prey.
The Brel.
Yeah. The your standard. See, I built that ship a couple times too.
Same,
so I love the they're fun to paint too.
It's such. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Just what I was saying before, like it's such the mainstay workhorse of their fleet, and like you were pointing out with the Vorcha, was easily retrofitted to purpose. So if it was a cargo escort, a convoy escort, if it was an attack wing ship, like they would be fitted differently. Sometimes they were science vessels. Or retrofitted to be more scientifically inclined, like that one episode where they go to the Dominion shipyards with Miles and everyone to get Jadzia into Sto-vo-kor. They, again, another throwaway line by Miles saying he had to make some adjustments to the deflector array and added a little bit of Starfleet ingenuity to make it more of an engineering ship rather than just a straight up, warship.
Right.
What do you find most appealing or iconic about the bird of prey, IP?
I think that the design harkens the shape of a flying bird.
It's badass.
Yeah, and it's just you can tell it's just made to fight. It's a scruffy mother.
Nobody's picked Romulan ships.
Nobody.
Well, I was ships. The Dariax is the.
How many are there?
Warbird, man.
We've only seen 2, right?
No, there's like 6 or 7 we've seen.
Yeah,
really.
But
anything from the Dariax to the Scimitar.
Did you get a really good? Did you get a really good view of? There really are just a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that like shuttle thing. There's a science vessel you see. I think it was in Voyager when they found that the time rift.
Yes.
There's the Dideridex and the Scimitar. The
Yeah,
Scimitar being from Was the movie everyone hates?
Nemesis.
Yeah.
That was not that was Riemann, not Romulan, right?
It was both, actually.
It's built by Riemans and staffed by Riemans. Were there Romulans on board that ship? I don't remember there being Romulans aboard it.
I think that one specifically was Riemann crewed.
We never saw any other one besides that one, right?
No.
And then there was the scout ship that the defector.
Right, remember that one?
Yeah.
That very green. Yeah.
But you know,
looking at the Romulan ship recognition manual.
The Andorian ships don't look bad, man.
Pardon me?
The Andorian ships don't look bad either, man.
They look like shuttlecraft. They look like runabouts.
Yeah. Anyway.
Don't say anything nasty about runabouts because that's my second favorite ship.
See the pump? Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What do you like about runabouts?
They're cool. They're little and they're cool. They're sweet little. You know, the Danube class runabout is just. You can make it do. You can configure it to do whatever you want it to be. You know, it can be a weapons hauler. It can actually do some science missions. It can go up to warp 5, which for basically what is the equivalent of a light plane or a medium-sized plane, propeller-driven plane. That's pretty cool. It's a cool little ship. I like ships that I could fantasize myself just being on them by myself and running it.
Oh, the Batman says Riemann's used Romulan tech, so the Scimitar would have been a Romulan ship.
Well, no, it's actually classified as a Riemann warbird.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I looked it up. But he's not wrong. They did use Romulan tech, but that's because Romulans controlled the entire society, technology, politics, everything like that. So they had to use that.
So my first favorite skep was the Delta Flyer.
The Delta Flyer, excellent choice. excellent choice. Yeah, I like that idea.
Just to add to what I was talking about, Romulan ships, there was the Romulan drone from Enterprise and the Talis class from TOS. Oh, and the D7 copy from TOS as well. The one that looked like the Klingon D7 Bird of Prey.
Oh.
I thought it actually was the D7 that they just said, "Oh, we're gonna buy one of them off of you."
I don't remember.
But
there's two ships that are in the old Klingon vessels that look exactly alike, but they're different in size.
That would be the D7 and the Contenga class, and that was my pick.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see the difference between the two of them.
Let me make sure that I'm at the correct spot here, so I can add your screen.
Can we all agree that Discovery is the worst ship?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The hesitation in my voice.
The Disco Very is a terrible.
Where am I here?
That hole in the main saucer section drives me nuts. There's no point in that.
Why? Why have that?
Because different.
Yeah.
No, it's from the first season that we're using the shroom drive.
Oh, right. Didn't part of it rotate or something?
You know, the gay actor that had to plug in with the shroom.
It's a revolving
network.
restaurant.
God almighty.
What were they thinking?
You can tell that I was totally repulsed by that first season of Discovery.
No, Disco Very is not. Ugh.
I know I said I watched it all, but I would not recommend it to anybody. It is beyond terrible.
The best part of it was the alternate universe shit, right? The mirror universe stuff, but then the rest of it was just like, holy moly. God. Headache.
I can't believe they're in the future.
You know what else is
Yeah, I know,
the
dude.
problem with a Romulan ship?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the dumbasses use a fucking fake or artificial wormhole to power.
Oh yeah, the singularity drone.
Oh, you
Can
know, one of the things that the
I'm
Romulans
still
used.
trying to get to your screen here.
One of the things that the Romulans used was a Klingon ship, right? The D7.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. No, I must have missed that. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought they just kind of like borrowed one or bought one.
No, what they did was they traded technology, right?
The cloaking
They traded
technology.
the cloaking technology, right, for the design,
Yep.
the ship design.
And I believe the Romulans also got photon torpedoes, but they ended up using plasma torpedoes anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There was some sort of exchange between the two, and you can assume that because of border tensions, skirmishes, pirate raids here and
Can
there, they
you
probably stole technology.
Try doing it again, Hammer. It's not
Sure.
showing. It's
I'll
not,
stop. And then I'll go share screen, share. Okay, I'm sharing. There are subtle differences between the D7, which is you can see my mouse.
The
Yeah, see, there's differences between this is from the original series. You'll notice that the front is smooth, the top is not pointed. And if you look here, this is the bell plate where the neck meets the rest of the ship. And you'll see that it has one bend, two bends, then the nacelle, as opposed to the Katinga, which has the bell plate, one bend.
Oh, yeah.
So they're actually different. And this has got a longer sloping arm. This is much shorter. But what made this such a great, for me, such a great ship is whenever they were able to tell you what was going on in the ship by looking at the outside. So if their photon torpedo tube opened up, turned red, it would make a sizzle sound on the screen. You know what's going to happen next.
That's cool.
You don't find that out from the Enterprise. Enterprise suddenly just leaps from the ship out of nowhere.
Yep.
But this one, it's like, guess what we're going to do? You see this little red thing? Guess what we're going to use it for? It's like a premonition of what's about to come. So it's a warning. Like, makes it even more badass,
That is so cool.
So that's why I like the Katinga class over the original. And you can see like the grooves. I'm sorry, BP. I'm doing a lot of this looks like this and this looks like that, but you can see these grooves in the front here that you don't see. The bulb here is just completely smooth and round. And even the top is smooth, where here you actually have instrumentation across the top.
I like the rotating restaurant.
Yeah.
Now that you're pointing it out, Hammer, I can definitely see the Romulan influence and the Klingon influence in the ship design, even though they're incredibly similar.
Yeah. There's a couple more images down here. But see, there's the point I was trying to make. Look at that. Yeah. That red. That is just like, oh man, they're gonna shoot. They're gonna shoot. It is.
That bay for the torpedo is massive.
It looks like it's just more thoroughly drawn than the other one. It's like got more detail on it. The other one is so smooth.
Well, yeah, it was an older model from the original TOS days, so it's going to be a lot plainer compared to what they could do. I'm not even sure if this is a model or if it's digital.
Yeah, I suspect it's digital.
This was a model, no doubt.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a great point. Is it's a lot more expensive. It's harder and more expensive to work with a model than obviously it is digitally. You can just go hog wild. But that digital drawing is just it's absolutely beautiful. I love drawings of spaceships though, so
I wouldn't be surprised if the Romulans just ripped the Klingons just ripped off the design from the Romulans and made it their own.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought the Romulans bought the Klingon ship as opposed to the Klingons taking it from the Romulans. Yeah, no one says it.
Did the Romulans ever get copyright struck by
Queen Susan?
What would a copyright strike from a Klingon be like?
I don't know, but I think Susan could be the Borg Queen.
Yeah. Borg Queen says she's sorry. She's a soy-filled bitch, and she flagged those videos.
Has everybody done their second ship? Did I miss anybody? Okay.
Yep. We've got our ship together.
What? So what should we talk about next week?
Man.
I think we should talk about all the our favorite and least favorite romantic relationships in all the series.
Oh, that's a good one.
Just an idea. We don't have
If anyone says Balana and Tom, I'm going to punch you.
Yeah. That would be a great one.
Oh, please don't punch me. Hey, I like Tom. Tom.
What does he see in Balana?
Right.
I like Balana. I mean, maybe it's the actress
Limited
that I like.
choices.
I like Balana too, but Balana reminds me of me, except for the ground stomping part.
I like the Roseanne Dawson more than I like Balana Torres. I just think that's a very pretty young woman.
I like Tom Paris because he reminds me of Pink Hollow.
Oh God.
Or we could do or maybe as an adjunct to that, we would say, of all the people in there, who would you hit on in all the series? Who would be, say, the three people you could see yourself in a romantic sharing and caring relationship
we
with?
could kind of make that a thing for we could do our favorite relationships, and then we could, because that's probably not going to take us a whole hour.
Right, and then who do we think is hot?
Finish that off with, let's do that.
Who's hot and who's not, and we could do a who's not also. The least attractive, supposedly beautiful woman looking Kira.
Maybe an idea is that our favorite non-humans.
Oh yes, sexy aliens. We could do that too.
Well, I wasn't going to say sexy, but we'll go there.
Anyone played by Combs IP.
Yeah, you read my mind.
What?
Who should we start with? Shran?
Shran.
Yeah. We're all thinking exactly the same way.
And then we can go with J.G. Hertzler, who played like 7 different Klingons, and man.
Tony Todd. I mean, we could just do this all day long.
Yep.
So, how about that for next week?
I like that idea. Let's do the relationship thing next week, and then we'll do the favorite non-humans after that.
There you go.
And I think the Batman would like to join us next week. So.
Oh, sweet!
All right,
excellent. This is the best. This is the best Star Trek show, in my opinion, on the web.
Aww.
Yep,
I agree.
So.
Well, you guys help make it that way. So.
It's your It's your captainage. It's your your leadership.
Oh, she's a lady captain. Watch out.
I'm the lady captain.
That's right.
And
she doesn't have big
coffee.
hair.
There's coffee in that nebula.
There's coffee.
All right, guys, we have come to the end of the show. I would like to thank you for watching, and I would like to thank my co-hosts for joining me. And please join Pink Hollow and I tomorrow night for The Blind and the Special at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, because the children insist on fighting sleep. So, this way we're not rushed. So please join us then, and of course, oldest goes back to school on Monday, goes back to the building, hooray!
Wednesdays with Skep next week.
Yep, Wednesdays with Skep next week.
And Minions tonight.
And Minions tonight. Oh, are you hosting?
No, Harry is.
Harry,
oh,
but
that's right.
he and Skep and I will be on tonight.
Yeah, we'll be there.
You guys are going to be on Minions tonight. I probably won't be, but you guys will be on Minions. IP, who do you have tomorrow?
Oh, MC.
Nice.
Can't touch that.
He's a historian kind of guy, and he used to do these excruciatingly detailed analysis of the Civil War with Mad Dodge, who just passed away a couple of months ago, and very very cool stuff. They were doing World War One.
Really?
Yeah, on a incredibly day. They did the Civil War sometimes day by day.
Yeah,
and so that's how I got into it. I would just put it on and listen to them, man. I'd be working on stuff and shit. Yeah,
Civil War day by day is 1,500 streams, but
exactly, man.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So that's tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Very cool.
Thanks for the shot of the plot.
You're very welcome. And on that note, I'm gonna go have some beef stew that I helped make. So
All right.
it's gonna taste awesome. And on that note, have a great Saturday night, my friends, and I will see you guys later.
Good night,
Bye, guys.
everybody.
Later,
Bye.
fam.
Judge, kapla!
Ah, nice.